I'm joined by head men's and women's cross country coach Michael Dunn. Coach, we'll jump to the men's side first, and then we'll jump over to the women's after that. So on the men's side, obviously lost a handful of pieces from last year, but you bring in some new fresh faces that I know, talking to you, you're really looking forward to see. What are some things we can look for out of the men's side this year?
I think there's going to be a lot more togetherness and pack running that you see from our group this year, which is really exciting because we've been trying to work towards that in the past. We just haven't had groups big enough to do that. Even though our group is like a small team this year, we actually have like a group of 5 that should be pretty tight. And in the past, it's been, a kid here, a kid there, some spaces and gaps between our guys. So this year, we're really looking forward to seeing this group develop together. 3 freshman guys coming in that all are capable of being really intricate pieces, not just this year, but moving forward too. So excited with that group as a whole, but definitely looking forward to the men's team racing and practicing as one pretty much.
Yeah, so in the preseason rankings, you guys were projected to finish 4th in the conference. How big of an impact are those first-year runners going to have to be, and kind of how are those upperclassmen going to have to lead for you guys to kind of maybe eclipse that mark?
I think the quality's there with these new kids for sure. This year, it's just the question's going to be, can they bump from that 5K to 8K distance smoothly? You get to college and it's a bigger jump than most sports to college in a sense of how different that race is. Running 3,000 meters longer, a mile, almost 2 miles further than you're used to racing in high school is a jump. But I think just in general, the upperclassmen that we got with Trace and Josiah, I think both of them do really well as leaders, both, on and out of practice, inside and outside of practice. And so I think just in general, there's going to be a lot of really good compatibility going on between our upper and lower classmen. And the lower classmen will definitely have, and so far they've taken really well to Trace and Josiah being able to, take any advice that they're giving, and understanding that it's a long and slow race here to get to the end of the season versus you got to do it, right now. So again, team building throughout the year, we're looking forward to that, and I think the pieces that are there, it's a pretty good blend.
Yeah. Then when we jump over to the women's side, kind of the opposite side of that coin, the women's side bring back a lot of pieces. Expectations might be a little bit different this year. What are some things we're looking for out of that big group of returners?
I think last year they were very excited with it being, that best finish really that we've had for our women's program for cross country. And with the core of that group back and individuals that have put in some really strong work over the summer that we've seen in these first couple weeks of practice, that group has really grown and really gotten stronger. I said last year to the group, we have the pieces here to do what we, want to do. And every year you come into a season, you want to have an opportunity to maybe win. And I think the women that we have, it's a really tight group. It's a group that understands and has some good experience with some of the courses we do throughout the year and the training. And so, I think the women's side definitely can teach the men's side a little bit when it comes to just, the ins and outs of what it's like to go through an entire season as well, because there's some great experience, as you mentioned, on that women's side. So I think top to bottom, our group of 7 that are top 7 in that women's side is going to be extremely competitive when it comes to conference and, have all the tools that it takes to have a shot.
Yeah, so you guys kind of rolling off of that, you're projected 2nd behind MLC. MLC's won it, I think, 3 years in a row now. As you guys maybe head into this first meet, what kind of expectations, obviously you're shooting for the top, but what kind of expectations do you set for the women's team early to kind of build to that last meet, which is the ultimate goal?
So coming out of the summer, it's always just not a reset, but you're starting a little bit from ground zero because you're bringing everybody in. You got to know how much mileage they're doing. The first couple meets we actually have are pretty chill meets. They're actually a lot shorter, so they're doing like a 5K and a 4K. in the first 2 meets that they do. 6K is really what that, conference championship is going to be at. So we're kind of easing into that, building mileage throughout the season that we'll be doing. But I think the group that's come back right now on that women's side, they know like what they accomplished last year. I think they're hungry to do more. There's a couple kids on this team that won't be back next year. So we want to make sure that we're sending them out on the highest note we can. And I think being able to continue this group, like I said, is built really well. It's got some really good pieces. And everybody's contributing in different ways from, 1 to 9. So at the end of the day, we're really excited about the progression that we'll see throughout this year. And as we're moving into October, we'll start to see a little bit more of, what this group can do at some of those big meets. And we do have some big meets on our schedule that I think we're just looking forward to being at and having some of that experience before we get to that conference meet.